Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Wednesday's Look North. On the programme tonight, we hear from people in Batley who tried to help a woman who was knocked down and killed by a road sweeper.
I was the first person I made the call to the police. So I tried to lift it up. We were about 20 people, but we couldn't lift it because it was very heavy.
We'll hear from passers-by who tried to help. Also tonight, a grieving husband says he'll never forgive Rotherham Hospital for his wife's death following an operation after documents reveal patients received substandard care.
She was such a wonderful human being. I can never forgive them what they've done.
It's not their first rodeo. The Yorkshire teenagers heading to the US to compete in the Barrel Racing World Championships. And we meet the couple who started living off-grid to bolster a soap and honey business.
Well, it took a while for the cloud to break up in some places, but eventually we all did see some sunshine. But will the sunshine tomorrow? Join me for that detailed forecast.
Hello there, I hope you've had a good day. First tonight, a 77-year-old woman out with her daughter was crossing the roads in Batley town centre yesterday morning. What happened next shocked the local community. Khatija Umarji was hit by a council road sweeper. This prompted a group of passers-by to try their best to lift the vehicle off her. Despite their efforts from the emergency services, she sadly died at the scene. Today, our reporter Abigiola has spoken to people in the community.
There are flowers now on Commercial Street in Batley, close to where 77-year-old Khatija Umarji died. Messages of condolence for her family from the community who say they're saddened by what happened here. The street was closed for much of yesterday after emergency services arrived. They were called just before 10 o'clock in the morning after reports a pedestrian had been involved in a collision, and they found Mrs. Umarji had been hit by a road sweeper. This image from CCTV shows the vehicle moments before the incident. The rest of the footage is too distressing to show.
Some of the people who saw what happened were too upset to talk on camera today. They told us they were really shocked and shaken. They said the woman had just been dropped off by her daughter, who then saw the accident as it happened. Ali was one of a group of people who tried to free the woman who was trapped underneath the road sweeper.
Her daughter was shouting, begging to the driver, say, come out, my mom's there. When I come running here, there's nobody made a phone call. It was 9:55. I was the first person I made the call to the police. So I tried to lift it up. We were about 20 people, but we couldn't lift it because it was very heavy. This town is a very busy town, and the community, all they know each other. It's affected the people a lot.
In a statement, Kirklees Council said heartfelt thoughts and condolences are with the person's family and their loved ones. The incident involved a council vehicle. We are fully cooperating with the police as they carry out their investigation. West Yorkshire Police say they've already spoken to a number of witnesses, and officers were back on the scene this morning talking to shoppers and business owners who were there yesterday. They're appealing for any drivers who have dashcam footage or anyone else with information to get in touch. A man who was arrested on suspicion of causing death by dangerous driving has been interviewed and released on bail. Abby Jayola, BBC Look North, Batley.
Very sad. Next tonight, a man whose wife died 3 weeks after a specialised procedure to remove gallstones has said he can never forgive Rotherham Hospital for the poor care that she received. 73-year-old Valerie Burkill from Bolton upon Dearne died in 2020 after undergoing a procedure which involved passing a flexible tube with a camera down her throat. Her husband spoke out after the Trust's documents revealed 58 patients had received substandard care from the service between 2016 and 2021, including 25 who suffered some degree of harm. Our health correspondent Jamie Coulson has more.
Val was so energetic, and she was an unbelievable person, and she didn't deserve this. I can never forgive them what they've done.
Valerie Burkill died in 2020 after undergoing a specialised endoscopic procedure at Rotherham Hospital to remove gallstones. The procedure, known as ERCP, is typically used to treat or diagnose problems in the gallbladder, liver, pancreas and bile ducts by passing a small flexible camera tube down the throat. The 73-year-old suffered a perforated bowel, which led to sepsis, and she died 3 weeks later. The Trust later admitted multiple failings in her care, including discharging her early while in pain.
The impact has been massive. We just love Val so much, and we'd do anything to have her back, but it can't happen.
Trust documents have now revealed the type of procedure Valerie had was suspended at the hospital in 2021, following what's been described as a cluster of adverse incidents and complications. During the 5 years leading up to this point, nearly all of the procedures at the Trust were carried out by a single nurse consultant. An initial investigation by the Royal College of Physicians identified numerous areas of substandard care, including problems with informed consent, sedation and how patients were selected. It recommended a further review of cases carried out between 2016 and 2021. The documents show that 68 cases were examined in detail by independent experts, where a patient died or had complications within 30 days of the procedure. Failings were identified in the care of 58 patients, with 25 suffering some degree of harm. This included 7 cases where the patient had died. However, the report states it's difficult to be certain that deficiencies in care were always the cause of harm due to the known complications of the procedure, but it would likely have increased the risk.
So let's talk about the report, shall we?
Sinead Rollinson-Hayes is the solicitor who represented Valerie's family.
There were multiple failings of care in Val's case, which sadly identified that she would still be here today but for those failings in care. But reading this report is even more concerning because it is on a such wider scale.
The NHS Trust responsible for Rotherham Hospital has apologised to the patients and families affected and said the care it provided in some cases was not at the level it strives for. It says it will continue to support those affected on an individual basis to give them the opportunity to understand the care they or their relative received. Meanwhile, Gary says he's haunted by what happened to Valerie every day. Jamie Coulson, BBC Look North.
Well, we have had a response from Rotherham Hospital and NHS Foundation Trust. They say we apologise unreservedly to patients and families affected. The care provided to some of the patients who underwent the procedure was not at the level that we strive for. The Trust admitted failings with regards to the consenting process for the procedure and that Mrs Burkill had been prematurely discharged and on a balance of probability with the appropriate care would have survived and made a full recovery. You are watching Wednesday's Look North, still to come on tonight's programme. At 82 years young, we meet one of the oldest women to swim the Channel. Next tonight, we are talking about council tax. Welcome to the neighbourhood. Everyone pays it and it goes towards funding roads, schools, care and your streets. The government has announced it wants to change the system, they say, to make it fairer for poorer areas. My neighbour James is here to tell us more. Got any milk I can borrow, James?
Of course, Amy, anytime. Welcome to Look North Street, everybody. It's a lovely part of the world. Shame about the neighbours. Amy's always leaving the bin out. Let's talk about how councils get their money. Now, they get it from the government, of course, but one of the main ways they raise their own money comes from every front door in the town or city. Council tax. All of our councils have been raising council tax, but not all of them are raising the same amounts. For example, if your homes are in Band A, you won't raise as much money putting up council tax as places with more homes in Band B, C and D. So let's have a look at the bands. In England, 24% of homes are in Band A. That's the cheapest band of council tax. In Yorkshire and the Humber, 42% of homes are Band A. It's nudging up towards 50%, but if you look at Rotherham, it goes over 50%. 53% of homes in Rotherham are Band A, that cheapest band of council tax. Now, the government wants to review the way that council tax is evened out across the country, and it's not all the same. Band A houses in Islington in London pay less council tax than Band A homes in Rotherham. That's led to gaps, according to Labour, where poorer areas who arguably need council services more have had less money to spend on them. Chris Reid is the leader of Rotherham Council.
I do think this is a question of fairness, fundamentally. People need services delivered in their areas. If I said that the health service was going to be worse funded in poorer communities, people would be outraged about that. But that is, in effect, what's happened with council funding. Now we need to get to a situation where we have the resources we need to deliver proper services for people in communities like Rotherham, instead of facing cuts year on year, which is what we had under the Tories.
In North Yorkshire, only 15% of the homes are Band A. They're a Conservative-run council. They're not best pleased with the ideas being put forward by Labour.
Yes, I'm sure that places like Rotherham will be, but nonetheless, the bottom line is that the good folk of North Yorkshire, with their historically high council tax because of the cost of delivering services, are going to, in effect, be funding and helping to subsidise the Labour heartlands, the presently Labour heartlands, I might add, but that may well change.
Right, tea time. Forgot my keys. I'll go round the back.
It is a lot to get your head around, isn't it? It's quite complicated, but fear not, we are here to answer all of your questions. So send us your council tax related queries. You can scan the QR code that is on your screen now, or you can email us, and that is look.north@bbc.co.uk. And we'll bring James back in the studio next week to answer some of your questions. OK, let's take a look at some news in brief now. Police in Australia are offering up to £250,000 for information about the remains of a West Yorkshire backpacker who was murdered 24 years ago. Peter Falconio from Huddersfield was travelling around Australia with his girlfriend Joanne Leese in 2001. They were attacked and he was shot dead on a remote stretch of highway in Alice Springs. Bradley Murdoch was convicted of murdering Peter in 2005 but has never revealed the location of his body. A funeral director has appeared in court charged with burial offences, fraud and theft from charities. Robert Bush, who now lives in Otley, is accused of offences relating to Hull-based firm Legacy Independent Funeral Directors. Police had previously removed 35 bodies and a quantity of ashes from the business. No pleas were entered, with another hearing set to take place at Hull Crown Court in August, with Mr Bush being released on bail. Staff at the University of Bradford are planning 10 days of strike action in protest at £16 million worth of cuts. Members of the University and College Union voted for action over plans to cut £16 million from the budget, with the loss of 230 staff. The unions say more staff are also at risk, with courses being cut. The first strike will be on Monday. Former England manager Sir Gareth Southgate was at Windsor Castle today to receive his knighthood. The Harrogate local was knighted by Prince William for services to football at the ceremony this afternoon. He said it was amazing to get the honour, and he's still trying to get used to being called Sir Gareth.
It's an amazing feeling. I didn't really know. It's strange, although it was announced over the new year, it doesn't come to life until you come here today. So, and to be able to bring my family, my parents especially, have been there throughout, my wife that's been amazing support, and you realise what it means to them as well. So a very, very special day.
Sir Gareth, congratulations. A man from South Yorkshire has made history, becoming the world's first triple amputee to sail solo, non-stop and unsupported across the Pacific. You might remember 33-year-old Army veteran Craig Woods from Doncaster. We spoke to him a couple of months ago. He's arrived in Hiroshima in Japan yesterday after covering a whopping 7,506 nautical miles in just 90 days. He said although he was exhausted, he was so proud to complete the challenge. And rightly so, we'll get him on the programme when he's back in Yorkshire. Now, barrel racing. It's a rodeo sport that's popular in rural America, with prize posts earning top female riders thousands of dollars. But you'd be forgiven for not having heard of it here in the UK. It's not the most popular of sports here, but this summer, 2 teenagers from Yorkshire are heading out to the US to compete in the Barrel Racing Teen and Youth World Championships. Our sports reporter Sally Hurst has been finding out more.
This is a sport that combines speed, nerves of steel and a Stetson. Welcome to the world of barrel racing, where riders compete to be the fastest round 3 barrels in a clover pattern.
Now, if all this strikes you as a bit cowboy, cowgirl, you'd be right, because this sport originated in Texas in the 1940s when a group of women wanted to take part in their local rodeo. Come on.
Nice soft hands. Nice soft hands.
Sally Heron fell in love with the sport after living and working in the US.
I wanted to be a cowgirl, desperately wanted to do that, and I absolutely love this idea of barrel racing and not being judged for my ability or my inability. It was just about the speed, and it's such a fun sport.
Whose broad stripes and bright stars.
And now she's taking a team to the Teen and Youth World Championships in Georgia.
There will be 2,500 youths and teens between the ages of 13 and 18 racing for the entire week. There'll be 2 arenas running, and it's literally one after the other. They get through 3 every 60 seconds. It's absolutely enormous, and yeah, it's the World Championships, so they're racing against the best in the world.
14-year-old Eloisa Rose from Bradford will be making the trip.
When you come off and your legs are shaking, it's like such a rush that it's like so exciting and exhilarating. So, yeah.
It looks quite scary in a way, is it?
It is scary when you're like going straight to a wall and you've got to just spin around a barrel, but it is so much fun and it's like so enjoyable.
Although the sport is purely about the time, the world record is 13.46 seconds, dressing up is part of the ritual for rider and horse.
Tell me about the bling.
Well, a lot of us on the team, we all kind of have our colour, and we dress our horses up. You can get breastplates, boots, saddle pads. Some of the kids on the team put glitter on their pony, and definitely a lot of effort goes into it. Adds to the fun of it.
Bringing some bling back to Yorkshire would be a bonus for these cowgirls enjoying the ride of their lives. Sally Hurst, BBC Look North, Mirfield.
Yeah, have fun, girls, and good luck. A woman from North Yorkshire might just have won an English Channel swimming record. A tough challenge for anyone, but get this, Dot is 82 years young. Never mind slowing down in her later years, she's completed her section of the 21-mile swim last week as part of a 6-woman relay team. She was due to do it last year, but it had to be delayed due to bad weather. But she's finally done it, and she's been in to tell me how it went.
It was great to get it started, and it was even better to get it finished. But yeah, it was good.
Quite a challenge though, Dot. You're 82, and regardless of age, it's a big challenge in itself, isn't it, doing that?
Yes, it was, it was.
What were the most challenging parts for you?
I think it was managing to control your shivering from the cold. It was cold, and you did get very cold by the end of your hour. They would signal to you when it was 10 minutes from the end, usually by putting fingers up. And that last 10 minutes seemed to last for ages. And all you could think about was getting back on board and getting warm again.
So there's 6 of you.
Yes.
And you all take it in turns on
Yes.
relay.
Yes.
To do the swimming. So how many times were you in the water?
All of us were in 3 times.
Gosh.
And then the person that first sort of meant 6 3s, 18, which we did it in 18 hours and 18 minutes. But then the person that started had to go in for that last 18 minutes to get to shore.
And you're only wearing your swimmers, aren't you? No wetsuits.
No wetsuits.
How are you keeping yourself warm in there?
When you come out, a couple of us were very cold, and it's just a question of trying to get some hot drink in you and getting under a pile of dry robes, woolly trousers, anything.
And dreading going back in again.
Yeah, by the time you got warm, you would just go back in again, but it was fine.
So, Dot, you were supposed to do this last year, it was postponed because of bad weather.
Mm.
How hard has it been to have that motivation to keep training another year on?
I think that was hard. I did give myself a rest from doing some cold water swims throughout the worst of winter, but then had to get back to it sort of this year, and always having to either cold shower or sit in the cold water tub in the garden. I found it quite tough to keep doing it. I was glad when we actually got called to go down.
I don't want to keep mentioning your age, Dot, because you look fantastic, but you are 82 and it's now thought that you're one of the oldest people to do this swim. How does that feel?
I wish I'd done it when I was younger, but as long as I've done it, I don't care, because age, as far as I'm concerned, is irrelevant. You do what you can do. Age is just a number.
And what do your family make of you doing this?
I think they get worried about that sometimes, what I do, but yeah.
What is your secret to being so energetic in your 80s, Dot?
I think it's just a question, as I've always done exercise throughout my life, really, and born in an era where you didn't have cars and you cycled everywhere or walked everywhere, and I think it stems really from that, and I've always enjoyed it, so I've always done it, and I think it's, if you keep going at it when you get older, you can still do it. If you stop, then I think it's hard to get back.
And so will you be doing the Channel Swim again?
No.
That's a definite no.
Yeah.
What other challenges have you got up your sleeve?
None. I said this will be my last challenge.
And you're going to grow old gracefully?
No. No, not.
Dot, you're a real inspiration. Congratulations and thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.
She's amazing, isn't she? Now, you're going to love this story. A young couple from West Yorkshire are living on less than £9 a day so that they can devote all of their time and money to their new business. Libby Ramsden and Ollie Blackwell moved into a caravan and are living off-grid while they pursue their love of beekeeping and goat herding. And you guessed it, they make their own brand of natural products from honey and goat's milk. It sounds dreamy, doesn't it? Michelle Lyons has been to meet them.
On the windy moors overlooking Silsden in West Yorkshire, Libby Ramsden checks on her bees. What was once a hobby has now become a full-time job. She has 150 hives throughout Yorkshire, which produce around 20,000 jars of honey a year. Meanwhile, her boyfriend Ollie owns a herd of goats. They use their milk to make specialist soaps. Together, the couple sell their products at local markets and online, and they call themselves Herd and Hive.
We started keeping some goats as a pet to help raise our orphaned lambs, any pet lambs that we got at lambing time. And after lambing time finished, we had all this milk that was building up in the freezer, and we were like, what can we do with it? So we had a goat making cheese and ice cream and all sorts, and was absolutely rubbish at all of it. But goat's milk soap was something that kept popping up. By the end of that year, we had a bit of spare honey and some soap, and we were like, let's do our local market. It was at Airedale Hospital. It was just a very small market just prior to Christmas. And we took our produce and sold it there, and we sold out of everything. We kind of came away from that thinking maybe we've got something here, maybe we could push it a little bit further.
But to finance the business, the couple have had to cut back in other ways.
So we found this caravan online and it was £11,000, so we bought that. And then putting all the services in that we need, I did it all myself. I dug a septic tank, piped all that in, piped all the water in off the rainwater system I built, so it didn't really cost anything.
Daily it costs us between £8 to £9 to pay for the rent of the land, the council tax, fuel for the generator which powers our milking machine, our lights, our cooker, and gas to cook on as well.
Their sustainable lifestyle has enabled them to grow their business, and now Libby and Ollie are enjoying a newfound freedom which has altered their whole pace of life.
At most we would put on the generator for half an hour to an hour a day, and when it's on we get everything done that needs the electricity. So we'll get the oven on cooking tea, we'll charge our phones, we'll have a shower, all within that time, and then as soon as tea's cooked we'll turn the generator off, and then we're back to living with no electric.
So you see other people and they're saying, oh, I've got internet problems and Wi-Fi and all this, and I'm thinking, don't have any of that worry. And we can come in, not better in winter, light the fire, get sat on the sofa nice and cosy, love it.
living off-grid has given Libby and Ollie a new way of life, and one which has allowed them to follow their dreams. Michelle Irons, BBC Look North, Silsden.
Paul Hudson is making notes.
Well, I'm just wondering what they do on an evening with no electricity, Amy.
I'm sure they found ways to entertain themselves.
Thank you very much
Playing
for that.
cards.
Would you like to see another reservoir? Because we've not covered actually South Yorkshire, but you can just see how low the Derwent reservoir is, and other reservoirs have now started to fall again. They levelled out for a couple of weeks. Yorkshire Water say that their reservoirs are now on average 58% full, which is a record low for this time of the year. That's at Castle Hill, the view up towards there in Huddersfield. It's been a lovely afternoon with some sunshine. If you've got any pictures you'd like to send to me, the addresses are on your screen right now. So a bit of a mixed picture tomorrow. We have got a weather front that will bring some patchy rain in the morning, though it will turn brighter with some sunshine in the afternoon. And then on Friday, this feature could bring some rain to the Yorkshire Dales, maybe the West Yorkshire Pennines to the south and the east of here. It's going to be dry and bright on Friday. And then the weekend, this is a bit of a nuisance. It's a band of cloud, but the general thrust over the weekend is for increasingly high temperatures. Sunday afternoon, we could see 28 degrees. So it looks like the high temperatures are on the way back. There's the latest satellite picture. There is some sunshine. As you can see, we've still got quite a bit of cloud around in places, but it's a fine and warm evening in most areas. And then overnight, we'll see cloud thickening, bringing some patchy rain in places. Not a great deal, I don't think. And we'll see temperatures down to 14 or 15, so a very mild night to come. So tomorrow's high water times in Scarborough 5:17, Bridlington at 5:39. So a cloudy morning tomorrow morning with some patchy rain moving in from the west. Again, amounts will be small. The afternoon brightens up with some sunshine. Just a hint of 1 or 2 sharp showers around the middle of the afternoon. But as you can see from these graphics, the best of the weather will be the second half of the afternoon and certainly into tomorrow evening when there'll be a lot of sunshine around. We're looking at temperatures reaching 22 or 23 degrees. So Thursday evening, fine with some sunshine. Friday, quite a lot of cloud. As I say, there'll be some rain in the northwestern portion of Yorkshire. Elsewhere, it's dry and turning brighter later. The weekend, well, a lot of cloud, especially on Saturday. But once that cloud breaks up, it's going to become quite hot. 28 on Sunday afternoon and again on Monday afternoon. And next week looks predominantly dry. That's the forecast.
Gosh, that's super duper warm, isn't
Lovely,
it?
that, isn't it?
Woo!
You like that, Amy?
I think I will, actually. That is it from us, but I will be back for the late news at 10:30. I hope you'll join me then. Bye-bye for now.